Evening, guys. Can you hear me? Or not? Please try put some cross, maybe some hello, evening. Can you hear me, guys? But I can see. Okay, so we're beginning. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have very interesting topic. Yes, it's for beginners, but I think has some time on the stock market, on cryptocurrency market. It's maybe some interesting in it today. So, topic difference between cryptocurrency market and stock market, or other markets such as forex, maybe futures, yes, etc. So, first of all, we are talking about stock markets. You can see website Finviz. It's a very popular site for stock trader. Today we are use this information. Stock markets, yes, for instance, United States stock markets. If you watched our first webinar, you should remember that both me and Alice started and continue on the American stock markets. Why? So USA throughout the post-war period, with the exception of, as I remember, 1989 and 1990, ranked first in the world in terms of capitalization of stock market. Also, the number of companies whose shares are traded on the exchanges has decreased over the past 10 years. Still, their number for today it's 7,157 stocks. It's unbelievable. So more than the number of companies whose shares are quoted on exchange in any other countries in the world. The reason for this high capitalization and liquidity of the United stocks market are dispersed ownership structure and high proportion of these instruments in the financial assets of the population. The shares in the United States are owned by near 100 million people, directly and indirectly through pension schemes, about a third of the country population. It's a lot of people. A significant part of USA stock in the portfolios of wide a group of foreign investors, including the most conservative pension funds, near $3.5 billion. Except the stock market, we have United States bond market, United States derivative markets. If you say about United States bond market, corporates bond and represent by a wide range of instruments, including both traditional unsecured corporate bonds, such as debentures, and multiplied securities that appeared in securitization order, such as MBS, ABS, CMO, and other. A distinctive feature of the United States debt market uh, in the huge volume of short-term corporate securities represented by commercial paper. Also, in American literature, commercial papers are defined as promissory notes. In fact, they are simply short-term up to uh, 270 days. Bonds placed by the private subscription. The total volume of commercial paper in circulation at the end of 2016 was almost trillion. It's a huge sum. The reason for such a high population of this tool is that unlike bonds, is not required to be registered with the Security and Exchange Commission (SEC). Today we have a lot of information about Security Exchange Commission, about the cryptocurrency market and stock markets. So foreign investors hold near the 30% of all outstanding corporate bonds. Next, United States derivative markets. As noted above, the United States accounts for more than half of the open position in exchange derivatives based on the nominal value of the underlying assets, as elsewhere the bulk of the turnover falls on financial derivatives. Options and futures for stocks, indexes, currency, bonds, and interest rates are traded on a number of exchanges. Until recently, the main trading platforms were the Chicago Stock Exchange, such as Chicago Mercantile Exchange (CME), Chicago Board of Trade (CBOT), and Chicago Board Options Exchange (CBOE). So the next thing I want to say is that about professional participants of the United stock markets. First of all, it's brokers and dealers, security brokers and dealers, and portfolio managers. The latter may be the same broker-dealer firms, but the majority are independent legal entities or individuals. Almost all broker-dealer companies of the United States are members of the national organization, the National Association of Stock Dealers, NASD. Which plays a very important role to market regulation. NASD develops and monitors compliance with business standards, the ethic of the stock market. NASD has the right to impose fines on these members. It's NASD that holds the bulk of professional exam for employees of brokerage and dealership firms. It can also cancel the certificate or suspend it for a while. The most common exam, if you know, in the United States is called Series 7. It's a very important exam who want to be a portfolio manager in the Northern America. The main regulation, as Americans say, watchdog of the United States stocks, and I think in the near future in the cryptocurrency market, is the Security Exchange Commission. Established in 1934, it has broad powers. The Commission has the right to conduct its own investigation, calling witnesses to testify, the amount of funding. SEC, budgetary organization, unlike regulation in the United Kingdom or Germany or Japan, exceeds $600 million. It employs more than 4,000 employees. SEC authorized are extended to professional stock market participant, broker dealers, stock exchange, investment advisor, registers, depository, and clearing organizations. Given the banks in the United States are not such, they don't fall within the control of the regulation only in part and issue. So, as I said at the beginning of our previous lesson, I am nonetheless traded some stock as the three main exchange: NYSE, NASDAQ, and AMEX. So what is the main difference, main rules for this stock? So nice Nasdaq and DAX. Cryptocurrency hasn't at opening hours or close hours. We know that the cryptocurrency market, it's unlimited 24 hours on 30 365 days per year, yes. And the nice or nice the economics opening hours of the main session New York time 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. There is also a pre-market session from 4 a.m. and post-market until 8 a.m. p.m. Pre-market and post-market have some difference between opening hours. Can use the stop order, and spread it's very big in this time. Next, minimum volume in the deposit. One lot equal 100 shares. For example, having bought one lot of stock X, why not? At $10, you used 1,000 of your capital of your buying power. If the stock grows to 11, your profit will be $100. Respectively, having bought 5 lots of X stock at $10, you used $5,000 of your capital. If the stock grows to 11, your profit will be 500. I think it's very easy. Yes. Also, there's an opportunity to take a share in the short your broker has and earn on the fall. I think it's a very big plus if we yes opportunity to take a share in the short, because in the cryptocurrency market only I know few like Poloniex, maybe, yes, exchange where you can borrow the stock for your short, and it would be for 1 day or maximum or two, but it's possible. Next, future, a huge number of instruments. As I said before, more than 7,000 stocks. It's possible to create several strategies depending on the nature of the market. You can see a lot of components, market capitalization, prices, yes, volume. We have Apple, yes, it's a big volume, 29-30 millions today, and today on BRKA only 200 shares. It's different volume, different style, and different strategy. So, return to our file. Second, a large number of liquid instruments, the ability to immediately exit the transaction with minimal cost. In this example, we lose $1 on the spread. Spread is the difference between the best ask and best offer. It's limit side of buyers, it's a limit side of sellers. It's a prince, like a cryptocurrency markets such as Phoenix. Yes, it's for example Bitcoin. It's bid, it's offer or ask. It's trades like Prince. So as I said before, for stock market orders, the main similarity between cryptocurrency market and stock market, it's type orders. So main orders. Order types such as limit orders, market orders, stop market, and stop limit order. Limit orders is an order by which we get the requested price or better. With this order, we add liquidity to the market and we are paid for it. Yes, some destinations like Arca, IDGX, IDJ can pay you some rebates if you trade on the limits order. If you trade market or stop market orders, with this order we take liquidity from the market. And one of important, I think, order is stop limit, an order with fixed price boundaries, often used when penetrating the level. For example, if we want to take a position when Bitcoin will be near 12,000, I want to open position when this number is growing up and take position from 12,000 and maybe $10. I create a stop limit order, maybe $2,001 and 2020, and these boundaries I have a position if the price will be there. It's very useful order. Very reckon this order. So all information was for stock market. Yes. Next, for what about cryptocurrency market? So cryptocurrency is a fully decentralized, secure digital currency whose creation is controlled by cryptography. The currencies are not issued by central banks, and their value doesn't depend on bank policies. Unlike regular currencies where new money can be introduced, the money supplies through quantitative easing, like QE, maybe you heard. Cryptocurrency prices are purely based on supply and demand. Bitcoin, created in 2009, was the first cryptocurrency. There currently is over, I think, more than 1,500. Yes, cryptocurrency at 1,590 Bitcoin market set. Other cryptocurrency called altcoins, such as Ethereum, such as Ripple, Litecoin, EOS, Cardano, Neo, IOTA, etc. Cryptocurrency are somewhat similar to precious metals in that their creation is controlled and must have a cap on the amounts of units, just like precision metals, which have limited enable amounts. So, if we return for the stocks and click for market capitalization and choose the mega 100 billion and more, it's very big amounts. And number one, it's Apple, a capitalization near 900 billions. Yes, some stocks may affect the market, like Amazon, like Alphabet, Google, Microsoft, Alibaba Group, Facebook, JP Morgan, Bank of America, and others. But they don't have the same power at Bitcoin, because we can see BTC dominates 45%. It's below, it's 50%, but it's only 5%. It's very big domination. Stock market, yes, some stocks may affect, like Facebook. Maybe you heard about not bad news, not good news for this company last week when 10 millions yes accounts was locked for they voted in the 2016 yes in the October 2016 and for Mark Zuckerberg has some problems in these days. Yes, some stocks like Facebook, like Apple, if they in the one time fallen down, it's the market fallen down too. But Bitcoin dominate in this area is cryptocurrency market. What are the similarities of cryptocurrency and stock markets? So first of all, both of the markets functions the same way. By their simplest, the price of both are determined by demand, meaning how much people are willing to pay for a share or a currency. This means that when someone pays more than the previous person, the price goes up, and when no one is willing to pay a certain amount, it's logical, and someone is willing to let go of their ownership for less, the price goes down. Secondly, both of them can be valued based on the idea behind them. The stock is based on the business behind it, and currency is based on the idea. But the value in both lies behind the idea to some extent. Finally, both of them are so far valued in fiat currency. This might change if the dream of cryptocurrency comes true, but for now we are stuck with this. And what's the difference of cryptocurrency and stock market? To begin with even when the value of based on the idea of the cryptocurrency or the stock in the stock market, you actually invest in the company. In the cryptocurrency market, you invest in the technology or the currency. However, you want to see it, but you never really get to own any part of the company, even if the business of the company affects the price of the currency. And guys, this also affects the total evaluation of the cryptocurrency market. There is none. No one really knows what's the total market capitalization for cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency market also faster than stock market, I think. This affects everything. Price go up faster, price goes down faster, price change all larger magnitudes, more volatility. Yes, but if we look on S&P 500, February and March, some volatility. Yes, on VIX volatility higher than all previous years. Interesting, guys. Rates, stocks. So, market manipulation is in something that doesn't really exist in the stock market. However, in the cryptocurrency market, it definitely does. It's a bad thing. Well, it depends if you get caught in between or not. To some extent, it might be beneficial for the wider adoption science. It gets more people involved. Following the last difference is the reason the stock market doesn't really have market manipulation or a very minimum amount of it. And that is that it is regulated, whereas the cryptocurrency market isn't. This affects a lot of the behavior. Any old tricks can be used because no one regulates it. However, no one is saying that you must do what is allowed by an agency. Also, new competitors can come in much easier. Finally, because new competitors can't enter so easily in the cryptocurrency market, Old currencies died much faster than old business died in the stock market. There is no reason for hundreds of cryptocurrency to exist. There are reasons for hundreds of business to exist. So what what does this mean? Uh, it's hard to say how this similarity and difference affect, but one thing is for sure: similar investment strategies seems to work in both markets. I think this means that abandoning what you have learned from the stock market is not a wise thing to do. The problem is when people think they have learned something from the stock market, but actually they've learned the wrong thing. So, sum up this information for cryptocurrency and stock market. Cryptocurrency. Value is determined by specialization of adoption. I said about this. If the cryptocurrency will be used widely in the future, value will increase. Grants no voting right, ownership, or dividends. Stock market, many companies have dividends. Unrelated to financial well-being of company. Not backed up by anything except speculation of adoption. An ICO is done by private companies as a method of initial financing along with seed financing. Companies that issue a cryptocurrency have no obligation to provide wealth for people who own crypto. They're allowed to do whatever they want with the value of crypto. Crypto sometimes is limited in the number of coins that can be created. The number is sometimes lowered. And crypto doesn't not have share financial statements. I think it's a big problem. And the last one, crypto markets are very efficient. I think it's a good news for the traders. So what about stocks? Represents ownership of a company, allows shareholders them to make decision about the board of directors, grants shareholders dividends if a portion of company's net profit, backed up by the value of the company, the value on their balance sheet, the difference between balance sheet and share price, X number of shares is called book to market value. Companies have a legal obligation to create value for the shareholders. I think it's a very important point because in cryptocurrency they shouldn't. Shares have to limit to the number that can be created by the company, but company is obligated to act in the best interest of its shareholders. Public companies are required to share their financial statements. And public stock markets hold a lot more money and are what's called more efficient. The share price include public information very well. Yes, if we looked for 2017, it's a very effective year. It's a year where you can earn a lot of money if you buy anywhere before October and hold your position and close position December. I think it's a good point. In stock markets like S&P 5000 for 2017 only 23%. So this market more effective than cryptocurrency in 2017. Excuse me. In 2018, both market, facing cryptocurrency market has more problems than stock market because stock market, I think, in plus, no, minus a few cryptocurrency big fall. Yes, the end we have 14,000. Now we have 8,000. Here's a 50%. It's a big fall. So if we looked last months stock market, February and March, and cryptocurrency, February and March, we can see some similarities. Yes, this and for this. I think it's very interesting information for traders. Cryptocurrency value is determined by speculation of adoption. If the cryptocurrency will be used widely in the future, like I said, I said about this, about the currency. So, what about this similarity between S&P 500 and cryptocurrency? So, why do the stock and cryptocurrency market show similar dynamics? It's a really interesting question. Dynamics, it's on February, on March. No one can say definitely, but we can speculate on this topic. Most likely, these assets are more closely interconnected by the psychology of investors and traders than was previously true. Another plausible reason is that many people who trade stock market, like me, are also engaged in the trade of cryptocurrency. It's absolutely true. So their actions in the two markets are very similar. FUD in the stock markets can also affect the situation on the cryptocurrency markets, maybe, but one thing is for certain, such as striking similarities in differently not coincidence. In general, corrections are normal and give confidence that the general trend of growth in the market will continue. So it was hard to imagine that the market will continue to grow exponentially for a long time, in which case investor would have a sense of approaching collapse. That is why corrections shouldn't always be taken negatively, I think. The same can be said about the stock markets. Just count how much profit you could have received of them the last few months. This month, October, December. On this path of development, investor can meet more than one corrections or collapse. However, one can state with certainty that 2018 will definitely be a significant year for cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency market, and I believe this information really help you. And now, if you have some question, I see some question for have chat, and question about I heard this question of previous lesson, but I can't read. How many percent per year can you can earn from stock market and cryptocurrency market? So in 2017, it's you can earn maybe 1,000% in cryptocurrency market. In the stock market, if you invest in the S&P, your ideal point will be 23%. But some people not trade S&P 500 or S&P 500 or NASDAQ or Dow Jones Industrial. They trade different strategies. and maybe in this bullish market, some people earned money for shorts because all day, single day, market has some stocks fallen. For instance, as a 10 yesterday and today, all day for 27%. It's a large sum. On Monday, would be okay. Yes, above $5. Now it's 3.41. So if you have some strategy who only short stocks, you can earn more than 25%, more than 100%. It's depend on your algorithm, on your algorithmical or trading by your own hands. In this year, if we invest in Bitcoin at the start of the 2018, you have big loss at the moment. So its answer, I don't know. Maybe in the previous year you can earn more than 100%, but in this year you can earn the same money because your strategy it's very impulsively, very it's more trading when you catch this with the short stop orders, small stop orders, yes, and we earn a very small move, but it's enough for your life, enough for your trading. You are not obligated for earn 100%, 1000%. It's not a goal. Goal in the stock market, a goal in the currency market, earn money, even market falling down. So guys, the day after tomorrow we have some review for situation in cryptocurrency market, talking about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency, other altcoins. And if you have a question, you can you can leave them on our comments, and I say you goodbye and see you on Friday at this time. See you.